Hi there, this is Alicia with another Heuristic Podcast, and today we're talking to Bill Buxton. He's a successful business leader and he's a CEO coach. He is actually a Master Chair with Vistage. He's been chairing Vistage groups for a couple of decades now. Has won many awards, used to be my chair back when I was in Vistage, and he is highly, highly regarded by very many leaders in the area. So I'm really grateful to have you on this podcast with me, Bill. Anything you'd like to add?
You sure that was me? That feels good. Yeah, that's accurate and complimentary. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did lots of things before Vistage, and basically I really love this job because I feel like it culminates everything else I've done in the business world. I love math and numbers and strategies and the ABCs of it all, but I equally, maybe more, love the interpersonal and figuring out why we do what we do and how can we help each other do more and better. So that's what I do all day, and it's a privilege to be doing it.
Yeah, you bring that analytical mindset to that interpersonal arena, and that's something that I relate to quite a bit myself, because I feel like that those social skills didn't come to me naturally. I had to figure them out.
Well, and I also bring the interpersonal aspect to the analytical work, right?
There you go.
So,
Which brings us to the heuristic. Nice segue. Thank you, by the way.
I've been planning that for days.
Teamwork makes the dream work, as I hear some people say. So the heuristic that we're going to talk about today, at least primarily, we can certainly talk about others if they come up, is when making changes, always talk to people with skin in the game. And just briefly, I picked up the skin in the game phrase from books by Nicholas Nassim Taleb, who wrote Black Swan, Anti-Fragile, and those sorts of things. And that really speaks to true accountability, being exposed to the consequences, whether they're good or bad, of a situation. And when you have true accountability, it improves the quality of decision making and keeps you from introducing unnecessary risk. So to me, that's an important heuristic, an important rule of thumb. What do you think of when you think of skin in the game?
Well, I guess kind of literally, my skin is at risk. Skin figuratively. In my work, it's not literally my physical body, but it's my reputation, my arc of competence and growth, my feelings about and belief in myself and others' belief in me. So it's, and that's basically, that's what I offer in my work, right? It's my skill and reputation. So, it's a big deal. And, I guess I don't know, I guess what I started to say with my role, I don't do anything that I don't have skin in. I will say that when you're coaching and mentoring CEOs and entrepreneurs, it's their business, their life. I'm on the sidelines. And sometimes I get too involved. I have to, wait a minute, this is not your skin. You give it your best shot, but they're going to do what they're going to do. So, and it's, the real skin is theirs, which I have to remember, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I have to remind myself of that too. And then my team, of consultants, it's that you remember the person that, who gets to decide on what to do or what not to do isn't us. It is the person whose business it is. And likewise, like if somebody's a business leader, it is their more broadly, it's that operational leader who's, they've got skin in the game when it comes to the performance of their teams, or at least they should. And not HR. HR is there to make it as easy as possible for them to do it well and properly and not get into unnecessary risk. But they shouldn't be handing off responsibility for things that they should, that really should belong to them. And I think sometimes HR people are very quick to either believe that, HR, in order to be more important, should be making decisions maybe where we shouldn't. But maybe not a popular opinion, depending on who I'm talking to.
So, but I don't think you view as HR.
No one does.
Well, that's what you want, isn't it? Well,
what I want is just whatever is. So no. So look, the truth is like, I didn't know this, Bill, but at this point, it's obvious. I'm an entrepreneur. That was always in me. And I just happen to have a background in HR, which is very different.
And you are selling HR, real, compliance HR for the rest of your team. I know that.
Yeah. Well, we're selling a wide array of how HR ought to be, which is consistent with what I talked about earlier. So, HR isn't there to do the things or decide, right? Is there to be a sounding board, and to help put that vision in place in terms of getting the people oriented properly. And it could be compliance, and it could be a little bit more operational. It could be more strategy, kind of how it, there's probably some overlap in some of the conversations you or I might have with the client, in terms of the ground we cover.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So when you're talking to CEOs, like you said, it's their skin in the game, and I have to remind myself of that too. That's their choice. Do you find situations arise where, I don't know, when they want to make changes, like how do they decide? And maybe this heuristic comes to play. Do you follow what I'm saying, or?
Yeah, when you started talking, my mind immediately went to one of my pet peeves with people I work with. Something's going on in their company. They're the CEO. And I said, well, how's it going? And they go, well, I said this and I said that. I don't care what you said. I want to know what they heard. And sometimes they don't get that. Just because I stood up and waved a piece of paper and said, we're going to do this. Okay. So what? So that's what came to mind when you were saying that, when they don't check with everyone with skin in the game. And the best ones, of course, do that. And they all do it some and forget it some, just like I do. But or I think I know the answer. And I charge on, and that didn't go over the way I thought. But I mean, I guess to me, the whole Vistage model embraces and enhances talk to people with skin in the game. Because the model is based on talk to other people before you do it and hear how they would see it, hear what they would do. Now, these other people are peer CEOs who don't have skin in the game, which is part of the beauty of the model because they don't have any vested interest. So they're just trying to put themselves in your place and think how it would seem. And give you that feedback, including if you're off base. Which, I mean, I love. It's taught me to be much better at that and to imply it in all aspects of life, not just business. If you have a tough decision, don't force it. Ask around here. Just keep your ears open until you hear what really clicks for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that sometimes sometimes I'll see a business owner sort of like they'll get locked in on the solution, and then using confirmation bias, find all the reasons why the solution is the right one.
Right.
Which brings up my other one, diagnose before you prescribe, which I may have said to a few people that you and I both know.
Yeah.
But beyond just diagnose before you prescribe, it's like this top-down decision making. It's going to be riddled with blind spots. It's like, well, I think that we should do X, Y, Z. This is what I would like to see happen. And so I'm just going to tell everybody what they need to be doing because I know that really we ought to be doing this. But maybe the solution that they've come up with isn't very practical in different parts, and it needs to be revisited to figure out kind of like, well, how can we tweak it so we can still get what the important parts done? But if we skip that part by trying to be more efficient, like I want to act fast, I want to be efficient. It's not efficient to like ask people's permission to do something. It's my business. I should be allowed to do this, right? I know you've heard all these things.
Universally, the hardest thing for entrepreneurs is to move from doing to leading. They all have a hard, I get it. They built their success by being a great engineer or a great this or a great that. At least in my work, very few of them are professional managers, hired guns. Some are, who, that is the skill, not the business itself being the skill. But to move from doer to leader, it is very inefficient in the beginning. And as I told one guy this weekend, you don't have to teach them to lead. You can keep doing it yourself if you're okay being small.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing it yourself, it's just me and my team. That's it. And that movement from I'm not going to do it, the people below me are not going to do it. Maybe the people below them are, or maybe it's even another level. So how do I know it will be done right with my company's reputation on the line?
Mm-hmm.
It's a scary thing to me.
It's emotional.
Yes.
Yeah. I recently had a conversation with a colleague, I'm pressing on some issues in terms of practices with the technology. And I'm like, I'm going to talk to you about kind of where my anxieties lie, where they're coming from. So, that I'm not just being, I'm going to do it Alicia's way because I'm a control freak. And I'm not saying I'm not a control freak. I'm saying that in this case, I want you, because as the business owner, and I know that other business owners feel this way as well, is that anytime we're working with a client, even if it's not me working with a client, that's a promise that I've made that we're going to deliver services according to the brand. And so that means a whole bunch of things. And if something's not going right, it's my problem.
Right. Well, yeah, you're certainly going through it. You're most of your clients, I'm sure you're not much involved at all. So how do you know it's going to meet your brand promise?
Scaling, right? This is the scaling issue. You have plus clients. What do you do?
To make that move, which I say is universally difficult for entrepreneurs, you got to talk to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because doers don't know how. Doing days doesn't teach you to lead, it teaches you the opposite. I'm not saying all doers can't lead, I'm not saying that, but it's a new skill set. And when you yourself are doing something you're not experienced at, you better be asking lots of questions, both from people who have already done it but also how's this in conference with the people that under you in the structure that it's going to land on. You're not passing the authority on to them, but you are checking things out. What if we did this? You better know what they think.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So it's all about just endorsing. Yeah, you better talk about everybody with skin in the game.
So, we're running up on sort of the end of our time soon, so I want to be mindful of that. But I am curious if there are any examples with names changed to protect the innocent or otherwise, of situations where somebody started off not thinking fully about talking to people with skin in the game, made some adjustments to their approach and then had a good outcome.
This isn't exactly what you asked me, but
Okay, whatever.
It's a good story. So before I was doing Vistage, I was doing turnaround consulting, where I'd be brought in companies that were going broke, brought in basically by the bank to fix them. Mm-hmm. And that made me the man. And very much skin in the game, what happens to this company and all its employees. This one company I worked with, we got things turned around. They're on the right track. They were making a good profit, well, an okay profit again, but they weren't collecting their receivables.
Oh.
And it was a builder, so a lumber yard. So the customers were contractors for the most part. Well, I don't know it. All I know is you need to keep working your receivables. You need to be aggressive, those make deals, all that. That's all I knew. That was the extent of it. So thinking, everybody expects me to know how to do this, so I'll do it myself. I didn't talk to anybody. And I sucked at it. When I got in the room with one of these old, street smart contractors, they wrapped me around their fingers. I believed it. And so the company nearly went bankrupt because of my pride and my unwillingness to talk to all kinds of people with skin in the game and experts in the field, because I had to know. I thought I had to know it, or I would be a bad consultant. I think that's the primary reason people don't ask others with skin in the game. It's pride and ego. I should know this. I'll show weakness if I ask, and it's just dead wrong.
Yeah, I think
so. I never fixed it. We hired a new CEO, and he immediately did two things that I didn't do. One was hire an attorney in that field to help him, and then hired an expert credit and collections guy to do the phone calling. So, I never saw that.
Well, I think what you observed is, you say ego, you say, right, and I think behind that even is fear. Fear of, I'm in consulting. My team is in consulting. I think there's this feeling that as a consultant, our job is to have answers.
Fear of being exposed as an imposter, which again, I would say, I think that is the primary reason CEOs don't ask either. Because down inside, I know I don't know what I'm doing, but I can't let anybody else know that. So I just act like I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And maybe that's gotten them to where they are.
Yes, they certainly.
Or at least not prevented them from.
No, I think you're right. But you have to know then, okay, when am I over my head? And it's absolutely I've come to believe it's a sign of strength to say, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I used to do that with my son when he was at that age of why? I'm like, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
And I thought that was great because I thought that, ooh, monkey's off my back.
Yeah.
Here's my phone. Look it up, son.
Did it work?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, the next step is just to realize that we all don't just know everything, but a lot of stuff is discoverable. And then, so I guess he learned that lesson early. I just didn't want to get caught in the trap of having to answer all these questions. Like, I don't know the answer to that strange question. But I think it goes back kind of to your ego, fear, or sense of obligation. Like, is it my job as a parent, as a CEO, as a consultant, to have all the answers? And what's it mean if I don't?
Right.
Am I flawed? And then I guess, I think it takes a lot of self-work to be able to, be willing to listen to what others have to say about something without feeling like you have to do exactly what they say.
Right. And your job is to make decisions. How do you make a good decision? Well, know as much as you can.
Mm-hmm. And how can you know as much as you can if you don't ask for other perspectives? Right. Which brings us back to your earlier point about the power of vistage.
Yeah.
That's great. Anything else that you'd like to add?
No.
Sounds great. Sounds like a really nice and tidy way to wrap up. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your book.
You bet.
And the work you're doing.
Thank you. You played an influential role and continue to. So thank you.
I hope I had a great influence on your art.
That's it.
Well, but what I really meant to say is I was surprised and very impressed. Now I'm going to go back and look at all of it more carefully.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Hidden talents. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Bill.